hope everybody can hear me. So, and as Oliver already stated, thanks for the introduction, is like that we are giving you an insight of the project as we have started it 2.5 years. Just recently, I think it's better if it's a little bit closer, sorry. That we introduced ServiceNow, and as well that we combined both worlds with each other. We are a LeanIX customer since 2.5, 3 years, which is as well was the ground base for almost everything. We will, we have to give you, of course, a company presentation, so therefore we will right away jump into it, give you a quick introduction of the TRUMPF environment, and then as well, how did we start the journey, how did it actually went, so it's like, we will, it's not working? Better? Oh, definitely better. And usually it's like I have already a loud voice, so therefore everybody can hear me. Okay. How did we monitor? How did we monitor the change? How does it actually work? And then in the end as well, we will give you some lessons learned and as well like an outlook, what we still have in our internal roadmap and as well together with MHP, but on the other hand as well with LeanIX. So, as already stated by, no way. As already stated, TRUMPF is in a company which is family-owned. It's manufacturing lasers and machine tools. Unfortunately, we are still not working on the lightsaber, even though that I was promised that there will be a lightsaber. We have a footprint in 77 countries. And luckily, and most of you already are using it in their day-to-day life, we are pretty innovative because otherwise you would not have those fancy smartphones or you would drive in nice cars because otherwise these are all manufactured with lasers or with the punching tools, bending tools of TRUMPF. 2.5 years we started with our digital transformation, and this is exactly one of the key triggers why we have started as well with architecture management. As you can see, it's one of our fundamentals that luckily our CDO and as well the entire family committed themselves to. And we have 4 ellipses where we are focusing on. We have internal transformation, we have as well the ones where we already are manufacturing goods, and then as well what is beyond all of that. And that was the digital ambition, and it's still our digital ambition to drive and strive as well in these areas. Moving on.
Yeah, hello. Also from my side, my name is Jan Storz, as already said. Nice to meet you here. With the look on the clock, I will shorten the company presentation a bit. You're all very welcome to visit us at our booth and to hear more about our consultancy approach and our portfolio. So I will really go through that very quickly. MHP as strategy and IT consultancy, we have now, it's a number of more than 3,000 employees in 14 countries, 14 locations, including USA, China, UK. So we came from a real automotive perspective, and everywhere where an OEM is, we are very close to it. We have a very holistic consultancy approach from the strategy, from scratch, delivering architecture work on all levels, and just really help customers to bring innovations and new solutions on the street. So really, really short. If you are interested, you're very welcome.
On the other hand as well, if you're interested in both companies as well, there are websites, I think, as well, if you don't like the booth, because I don't have one. So let me jump into the TRUMPF environment, which we as TRUMPF are dealing with, and as well to give you a little bit more of an insight what actually are the opportunities or even some challenges and risks that we are still facing and we are as well, let's say, working in. So we are separating it in, let's say, 2 to 3 areas, which is like the product IT, where you can see a nice laser icon or a robot, similar robot icon. And what is exactly pointing out here, these are actually the goods that we are selling to our customers. Besides of the goods itself, we are selling as well software which are running on the machines, but software as well that we are selling in addition to the machines or lasers. Nevertheless, and that is exactly what we are offering and which we are dealing with, is like we have digital solutions which the end customer is interacting with on a smartphone, on a PC, on the machine itself, which is usually called, our experts call it HMI, so a human-machine interface. Then in addition to that, because we are dealing with machine tools and laser technologies, we are combining those two worlds more and more, and which is why as well we have new solutions where even new possibilities and capabilities are opened. Then, and that is I think where most of you and where we as well actually started, is the business IT. SAP, pretty similar, I think most of you are dealing with it, which is a typical business IT, and some of those services that we are as well now shifting, because they are commodity, as some people would say, and therefore we as well dealing with those from an external perspective, or we are utilizing even external services, applications, again, from our customers. So therefore this is a little bit the environment where we are dealing with. All of that are objectives, possibilities, opportunities, as shown on the slide. But what exactly do we have as well? If we do not know what is going on in our environment, we are facing risks. If we are only concentrating on a silo perspective on the business IT, you only see one silo, and even there you are dealing with 2,500 applications, services, systems, even more, that you need to have an insight into. Therefore, what we are now more and more striving to is really to have an end-to-end perspective on, to get insight from the machines, which are as well running on an operating system, and therefore as well running applications, and to get an end-to-end perspective. And Jan is going to show you as well how that might look like in real life.
Exactly. So just give an example. What does it mean? When now a customer of TRUMPF having a problem, something doesn't work, he calls the technical hotline. That's the first, the only view for the customer. So one UI, okay, calling technical hotline. But there the challenge starts, because it might be a problem of the business unit, and it might be in different countries, or the effect might be in different countries. Especially the business unit has the apps, it has the machines, it has the processes behind it, doesn't know which is affected over there. Also, it might be a problem of the IT. So maybe the error is affected somewhere in our legacy systems. So we have to involve the IT help desk. Or maybe it's a problem within an access problem. So we also have an HR help desk, which we might have to involve. And maybe it's a combination of all that. Or maybe it's something which is not even in our hands, and an external service provider has problems with his systems. Or with systems that they are providing for us. Or if it's not a problem with the IT, maybe it's something we should give over to our sales department or R&D department. So, I continue. How did the journey start? What was the beginning to say, okay, we have this landscape, what's next? So actually the CDO, so one of the family, requested to get one comprehensive view on the whole landscape, to say, okay, what's our direction we want to head? And in the beginning, we said, okay, we bring together sales and service, so where do we get money from? And they set it up a whole bunch of use cases, and then derived 13 core use cases to monetize, which were monetizable in 18 months. So that was the view, okay, that's our market, and that's where we want to be in 18 months. And next to the business unit, then comes the tech view. And now it gets a bit challenging. We showed one landscape, but regarding our business units, we have development in machine, in lasers, in smart factory solutions, and also in the internal IT. And all of these tech views are delivering similar or the same capabilities. And there are also some more, but that are smaller ones, and we have a look not on these. So, what was the approach? We brought together all experts from these from these tech units, and worked together 3 weeks in a campus mode, and then derived from that one comprehensive target architecture. So that we said, okay, what solution from which unit delivers the use cases in the next 18 months the best. And we derived a life cycle, maturity degrees, a migration plan recorded to time, connected them to the use cases, and made the dependencies between the solutions and between the use cases visible. Yeah, and so we derived one common architecture, all units approved on, and said, yes, that is our direction. So, knowing ourselves, what was the approach, what was, let's say, the results, we needed to find as well a solution where we put all of it. I mean, we are here on LeanIX EA Connect Day, so therefore it's now the first time that we have to mention that we are utilizing LeanIX. So LeanIX is as well our fundamental now as the one single source of truth, not only for the business IT, but as well for those which have delivered in this reference architecture solution. So the results of the campus, all running projects, but as well what is the service portfolio of each individual unit that is providing or have provided a technology were like uploaded and entered into LeanIX. The differentiation was, of course, in IT components or in applications. And next to that, what we did was to utilize as well with it the road mapping. We utilized some custom reports, as it was already shown. And we are, with that, we are forcing people to, to document the applications in LeanIX first. So with that, it's really born, and from there on, it is as well moving into further processes. It's the ABB, so just that if not everyone is familiar, is the architecture building blocks. So what we have shown before was exactly like a reference architecture where each individual block was an architecture building block. So as well there, each individual block was again entered into LeanIX as well in a different perspective in applications. And from there on, we are keeping LeanIX as the one single source of truth to have all the information in it. Now, what we have introduced next to it, because now we had, let's say, a PowerPoint status of, okay, what has been uploaded into LeanIX, but how do you actually work with it? So ServiceNow was introduced because we had a former IT service management solution, which was not as close to LeanIX as it should have been. So, and we were as well, after 12 years of customizing this wonderful solution, we scouted for a new solution. And luckily as well, we found ServiceNow, which as well is fitting our needs. And what we did was we implemented it out of the box with only 5% of customizing. Which meant that we are now have a one single service offering solution where we are synchronizing the services from LeanIX into ServiceNow, but as well backwards. We have an event management. And the funny part here is as well, as you will see, there's a wonder list. So, and there's as well, Jan will say a little bit more about it, because there's as well one of the biggest challenges and as well risks that we have taken, and where as well, let's say, the most unhappiest people were created from. And as well, what we did is we introduced for the first time a CMDB. Before that, unfortunately, I think there were a lot of Excel spreadsheets. Some people as well were running around and had it all in their heads. And unfortunately, it was nowhere else documented. And
Because the CMDB, this is my personal opinion, is nothing that you should do manually and never should enter anything manually, and therefore you have tooling. You have tooling that you can utilize pretty easy if you are utilizing it, of course. So Microsoft is offering this SCCM as a solution, or the Red Hat Satellite if you, let's say, have a harmonized environment for your Linux distributions. And with that, you have two from many, many sniffing tools, but these, let's say, were easy, already given solutions that we had to come up with the groundwork in our CMDB. And both worlds were in the end then integrated, but I think this is what Jan will as well say in a minute, because this is the ideal world. And now let's face it, how does it actually work?
So I'm sure most of you have heard the presentation yesterday from Campari, which was really nice. And till this point, I think there are lots of similarities. And we now want to have a look more deep inside. How did it actually work? What were the challenges we were facing in the TRUMPF environment? So I think, as I talked with lots of people yesterday, the concept is really good and has lots of potential. But facing our repository as it is right now, or as it is, or how it has been some month ago, let's say it like that, we were challenging a big problem with the data quality. So we had lack of data quality in various domains, because we had different kinds of modeling guidelines. We have lots of architects in charge who has not an architectural background and knowledge or deep knowledge of the whole complexity. We had a lack in the governance model, which make it complex to talk to people, to show them in which situation they have to document what. According to that, unclear responsibilities, unclear modeling practices, and a huge fear of the people to delete something, to say, yeah, that was a mistake. As David mentioned today in the Aldi talk, the fear to showing, oh, that wasn't good, I have to improve it again, and I have to delete something, because then I might lose something. So the point was, LeanIX was not able to be the single point of truth to that time. And in the whole concept, if the repository is not able to be the single point of truth, it breaks. So what did we do? As Daniel already mentioned, we used the sniffing with Red Hat Satellite and Microsoft SCCM and filled in the CMDB. And from the CMDB, we outlined a whitelist Excel sheet, which at the beginning sounds awful, getting thousands of IT components and then aggregating them and bringing it all together and simply aggregating them to a higher level of the versioning. But in the end, we had about 300 to 500 IT components IT components from the CMDB, which we said, okay, this is really our subset of applications that are existing in our environment. And then we pushed them into the IT component fact sheet in LeanIX. And that is exactly the synchronization where we say, okay, we're coming from that point, bring it in here. And then we deleted more or less the whole application landscape and said, okay, now we are connecting our whitelist with the application landscape and aggregating the IT components to the application fact sheets. So we have really now a functional level in the application fact sheet where also the business departments have a feeling with. They are not interested in which versioning they are talking about, or whether it's version 17 or 18, or whether it's name XY. We're using the name they are using and connective together. Next step, how do we connect these solutions? We're not using the ServiceNow LeanIX standard API because we wanted to enable the reusability. And due to the fact that one of our architectural principles is API first, and we are implementing a really holistic API management in TRUMPF, we as TRUMPF, sorry for that, we said, okay, we want to make it reusable, the information we are getting out of LeanIX, and also to push in more from ServiceNow into LeanIX back in the direction of IT components and the whitelist. So yeah, we just make it transparent via the API store. What do we get out of LeanIX? We enable reusability, and we strengthen our concept with API first, and make sure that the applications are independent from each other. So what's the effect of this? We have about 14,000 employees in the whole at TRUMPF. And by setting up ServiceNow as the one UI for these 14,000 employees, it is the single point of view for them in the direction of the enterprise IT. And now it's the point which Daniel already mentioned with the Wonder list. It is mandatory when they have an incident or an event to choose the application which is affected. So we have a shift of the obligation to bring to the employees. So they are delivering the background information and saying, yeah, this application doesn't work, and I choose it from the Wonder list. And if it's not in there, it doesn't exist, because then it doesn't exist in LeanIX. So when they sending an incident saying, application XY is a problem, and it's not in our list, then it might be in the shadow IT. And bringing that then back via our sniffing into ServiceNow back to LeanIX, we're really having an iterative concept to increasing the data quality. So next to this, we bring the background information to the IT employees, where we have 900 IT employees who can now deliver faster and bring better and faster response to the incidents and to the events. I think I have everything. Do you want to add something?
Yeah. Well, one thing as well to add is like, not only, let's say, Jan has opened the ticket and in itself it says like, okay, I have a problem with Outlook or with emailing or however you name the service or the application as it has been entered into LeanIX. Now it is getting to me as an IT resolver. What I am forced to is like I have to connect, if it has been not connected already, to an actual CMDB entry. So, because what we are getting out of the SCCM is like the server name. So, and we have as well relationships to each other, to software installed on the server. So therefore we have something like an already from the sniffing a tree view. And now what we are forcing the IT fulfillers, so the ones who are resolving the tickets, they have to connect the application to the highest level, for instance, the server. With that, we are bringing exactly the last combination into ServiceNow, that the next time we always know, okay, what could have, or what is affected by this application when there's an incident. So the next time when he's opening Outlook, we know, okay, it's the server, SRV, 1 PRN, whatever. And then we know, okay, we have a change impact analysis as well. We get the full tree perspective because it has been maintained with the previous incident. And that is as well one of the other, let's say, not so nice things that we introduced with ServiceNow, because we forced our people now, our IT people, to maintain that relationship by each individual incident. And on top of that, we are forcing the 14,000 users to name the application they are actually having a problem with. Because not all of them are even sniffed. Some of them have been introduced because they're a SaaS solution and they think Trello all of a sudden is one of their solutions. I think everybody knows when I'm saying Trello and nobody likes it, because we have Planner, because we have Jira, I don't know what else. And that is exactly the other thing, because it's not in the Wonder list. It has not been taken over from LeanIX into ServiceNow, so therefore we do not know the application. We are not supporting it. It might be in shadow IT, and this is exactly the circle that we have introduced. A lot of forcing, a lot of change management, a lot of hate mails, not hate speeches, maybe as well hate speeches that are unfortunately mails that I have received. Nobody likes me anymore in the company. I don't care. But the thing is, like, that's the only way how you, or at least that how we addressed exactly this data quality issue. So what's next? Most of it addressed, of course, the business IT. And what we showed, of course, was exactly, yeah, we know we are utilizing LeanIX with the business IT, we are utilizing LeanIX with our external services as well, like Trello. But there's an entire environment of product IT. And that's exactly what we addressed 6 months ago with the first setup of a campus where we have set up a reference architecture where we have settled and said, like, okay, what exactly is the product IT portfolio of applications we should foster or concentrate on, there we go, concentrate on and as well utilize. So LeanIX is exactly and has been chosen as the one repository again for the product IT. But exactly with the same functionalities that I already told you before, or Jan told you, with it is taken over into the Wunderlist in ServiceNow, where it's as well utilized in the service management processes. We want, with the one repository, of course, as well, to have a recognition, what is the first level of failures. We are going to increase the quality and the guarantee, so we are now trying out the quality seals of LeanIX. We have implemented a data quality report, custom report, but it's on the LeanIX store, pretty much empowered by Incovia. I think this is the last thing I have to do with advertising now. And third thing, what we are more and more doing is we're utilizing APQC. I don't know if some of you are knowing it, but we're using it as a basis for our capability-based planning. So we want as well to give our IT account management and as well our business units a possibility to utilize a model that has been already established for planning the next budgets of the next year. Sorry, Oliver. And with that is exactly we are ensuring end-to-end governance. What we need now as well to introduce is into the product IT architecture roles. Because we are innovative. I mean, I have to say this, I'm working for the company, I'm paying every month my salary. But the thing is, like, those are R&D guys. They like to code, they like to work on their own. They have not been forced into some kind of organization and structures, but now it's the time where we are combining more and more the business IT with the product IT. So we are setting up architectural roles. We have a common process which, let's say, for instance, is coming together in an architectural board where each business unit as well is represented. The board structure is not only now given for the product IT, we are introducing as well for the business IT, and then there's an overall one for TRUMPF, which with a very, very high level management attention, which is most of the family. So it's lucky to see them as well then in those boards. And what we as well are introducing is more and more this campus practice that we have conducted in April. We are redoing it. We are bringing them together again just to see, was there maybe a new solution introduced? Is there maybe a white spot? Does someone else have it? So this campus perspective, and I think we had it on yesterday, is as well to bring the 4 to 5 business units that we are facing with more and more and closer together so that we are a family and not a team. And luckily, and this as well is given by LeanIX, is we are now coming up with this one language. Because we are naming it an application, we are naming it an IT component, we are naming it an interface, and there's not, oh, I'm a UML guy, the next one is an Archimate guy, the next one is whatever. There are many languages, I think you already know this.
Thank you. I think that's really one crucial point. So we're setting up right now this really end-to-end. So from a really high management perspective into all business units, a governance concept. So going down till the implementation of the ABBs and bringing together all within LeanIX, and now using the reports to deliver and saying, okay, in this meeting, every month we look at exactly this report according to this architecture building block. And if you're not delivering your information, the management will look at old information, and that really helps to motivate the people. What brings me to our last point, and you're very close to lunch. You can be happy. Lessons learned. Let's have a look on 3 topics. First topic, the target architecture. So this overall target architecture, this is our common view on the ABBs, and the look from all business units on that helped to motivate the people. It helped to give one guidance and one common goal where everybody can have a look, okay, what is my work doing for our overall direction? And you really felt the change in the motivation of the people when you talk with them. Wow, we have a goal. We know where we are heading in the next 18 months. We know there are problems. We know that this first architecture is not perfect, but we have a direction, the framework we can lead, or where we can orientate ourselves. And it really helped to strengthen our strategic alignment and our work. But of course, for many people, especially for them who know, oh, my application didn't make it, there was a lot of fear. So when they know, okay, my application, which I worked on the last 2 years, is now eliminated tomorrow, what do I do then afterwards? So that was a huge topic to handling the people and to showing them what is the alternative now. And of course, as I mentioned out, we focused on sales and service. Of course, there are many more use cases and topics that architecture management has to look on. Just have a look on the trends. But that's one topic which we had, or which we focused on in the beginning, and there were now several more campus events where they dig deeper into the specialized target architecture. The second point, common repository. As Daniel already mentioned, LeanIX helped us a lot and still helps us to setting up this one language. It supports communication and visualization, so it helps so much simply having a diagram, a view in the beginning of a meeting to say, okay, that's our actual point of view right now, our information that we have in the repository, is that correct? And it really helps for the discussion. So that was great. And it helps, as I already mentioned, for this end-to-end governance concept. But data quality is crucial. I think that's nothing new for you. But it was a big problem, and it still is. With ServiceNow and the integration, we have a good concept, I think, to increase the quality. But it is something we have to work every day and again and again. And it was a big topic for the governance team in the beginning, and we hope to improve that over time. And the last point is focus. So as I already mentioned with the target architecture, it helped to focus, but we have to stay on track. With to do this campus once in a lifetime, it doesn't help. We have to continually communicate our improvements, our challenges, our results, our new changes we do to this target architecture again and again to the stakeholders, especially to the management, but also to the engineers, that everybody simply knows what did change since 12 months. Yeah? Is the target architecture still the target architecture we are working on, or what has changed? Because if you look back, 80 people worked in the campus. Today we mostly work with people who haven't been involved back to that time. So an active stakeholder management is absolutely crucial, and we did that quite well. We did refinement, and what was a bit more complicated was this monitoring over time. So without this end-to-end governance over all business unit, it was difficult to stay on track and to monitor which developments there are on this target architecture. That brings me to the end. I hope it was interesting for you. Thank you very much. And as I said before, if you're searching Daniel or me, you are allowed to stay at our booth as well, what you already do. Yeah, feel free if you have any questions, and you're very welcome for later discussions. Thank you very much.